Good day, monkeys. I'm Eddie Braverman, and as you can see, I'm in mourning after my Saints fell to a bunch of 7-9 scrubs. That's Midas Mulligan Magoo, and you're watching episode 10 of Not Safe for Work on WallStreetOasis.com. This week we're covering the fallout from the Barclays layoffs, the Arizona shootings, and $100 oil. So let's get to it. First of all, I want to express my condolences to everyone who got laid off at Barclays this week. It sucks to get fired. And I know that because I've been fired. A lot. But the guys who were let go this week at Barclays had to suffer the additional indignity of no bonus for 2010. On some level this makes sense. If your contribution to the firm was minimal enough to cost you your job, common sense dictates that you wouldn't have earned a bonus. But we all know how it works on the street, and bonus is more or less the variable portion of your salary. Everyone expects something, regardless of how hard they made it rain. Right or wrong, that's the way it is. In the short term, I can see this move on the part of Barclays having a marginally negative impact on their recruiting, but in reality, there's enough eager college kids waiting to endure daily floggings just to be able to say they work in IB to fill every desk. So, on balance, it was probably a good move for Barclays, even though it totally sucks for the people they let go. Midas?
The thing that always amazes me about corporate slavery is that it's 100% consensual. 2 years ago, or actually now we're getting into the 2.5, and soon we'll be saying 3 years and 5 and 10 years. We put our problems at the bottom of the hamper, and now the whole house smells like shit, and we're wondering why things are happening the way they are. You can't run from the past. You can just get fucked later and harder by it. Last year, just as one of a million examples, Barclays led the wave of reverse convertible sales, which cost investors millions, and did you really think that that was going to come out of Diamond's cut? I mean, that's why he's a lump of coal shit that needs to be crushed, but hey, aren't they all? Because the next time this happens, once again, it's going to be the guys at the bottom getting a shaft for the mistakes that came from on top. And let's be real here, Eddie, it's the back office and the middle office people and some of the less skilled traders here getting the shaft. And, Bob goes and talks to a politician or two, and they're people he owns anyway. And it just continues on again. So, I know most of our fan base isn't religious, but I do want to bring up one point, and I think anybody who bought the remainder of Lehman's disease crap shrap heap is not in for anything good long term. So I wouldn't want to be affiliated with Barclays no matter what kind of bonus they offered me. Buyer and banker should beware.
Karma's a bitch, huh?
Then you marry one. But that's the next segment.
All right, a bunch of you have asked us to comment on the Arizona shootings and the assassination attempt on Representative Gabriel Giffords. I'll be the first to tell you that I don't have anything to add to the discussion. I'm personally sickened and horrified by it. And my heart goes out to the families of the innocents who were injured and killed. I find the media's immediate attempts to assign blame for the actions of a madman utterly despicable. And the grandstanding on the part of those who are using this tragedy to enjoy their 15 minutes of fame is beneath contempt. This guy wasn't taking his marching orders from anyone, least of all Sarah Palin or Rush Limbaugh or any of the other talk radio dingbats. He's just a fucking whack job, plain and simple. Crazy doesn't need a reason. Crazy doesn't need a cause. Crazy doesn't have an ideology. Giffords appears to be recovering, so if there's any positive to come out of all this, I guess that's it. As shocking as it all is, though, this kind of thing can't be prevented. It's happened from time to time throughout history, and unfortunately it'll keep happening as long as there's insanity in the world. Midas?
Also want to extend my condolences to those who lost loved ones. Like I just said, life's a bitch and then you marry one. In war, innocents suffer, and make no mistakes about it, guys, it's war out there. It's a war between America's oligarchies, and us mice are just standing along for the ride. As usual, the real story is in the press. You just gotta dig through the headlines. Run a search on Ashley Turton and John Wheeler. She's the wife of a White House aide who got mysteriously torched in her car this week. He's a former Pentagon guy who turned up in a garbage truck, all within a couple of days of the Arizona shooting. So don't think this doesn't have a bigger meaning. It's just we're getting clowned as always. Coincidences are just a little too close for comfort, in my opinion. And I think the real issue nobody wants to talk about here is that we're the USA, the United States of America, not the 50 bitches of Pimp Washington. Whatever you think of Arizona, they've been pretty clear in their disagreements with federal policy. I mean, it's coincidental that this is going on right around Martin Luther King's Day, which they've been vehement in opposing immigration and a bunch of other issues. Look, we're a confederation of states. When a state's desire to exercise its constitutional rights are infringed upon by the federal government so consistently, what you're going to create is an environment where more people in that state get harmed, more people in that state get angry, and more likely a crazy son of a bitch from that state jumps out from behind a bush in that state and starts spraying people. They're dirty games. The shit hit the fan in Arizona, but it blew the gasket in D.C.
Well, I hesitate to give any kind of political bent to this because I don't think it's political. I mean, I think the guy's just straight up a whack job.
I agree with that. He's nuts, but I think the environment that's being created by politicians and the media and everything that you're talking about kind of drives somebody who otherwise might just be a vegetable on the couch into doing something stupid. But we can go on forever on that.
Well, I mean, do you think, because I've heard a lot of cries lately that the folks in the media should tone it down and that, the violent rhetoric and what have you. I mean, do you think that people should start to watch what they say a little more? Or, I mean, hell, if we had to do that, we'd be out of work.
No, exactly. It's tough to say. I think people in positions of authority need to be held responsible, Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, you've got a lot of people saying things that are inflammatory in positions of authority. I don't take, Yahoo News and things like that very seriously. But when party leaders and potential presidential candidates, people who are in the White House already, are out there assigning blame, as you mentioned, I think that's the thing that makes the common man on the street think that it's okay. And again, I think we need to hold people who are in positions of authority to higher standards instead of just passing it off on some hack, making $10 an hour, copying headlines left and right. So that's just my train of thought.
Fair enough. All right. Crude oil's getting awfully close to $100 a barrel. And former Shell CEO John Hofmeister predicted that gasoline will hit $4 a gallon this year and $5 a gallon next year. And I know I don't have to remind you guys that 2012 is an election year. Things are starting to get ugly for consumers at the pump. And I can't think of anything that would suggest the price of oil is going lower at this point. And some people think that we could see $140 barrels of crude again. I hate to say it, but oil might be the play this year for those looking for a home run like silver or gold over the past couple years. I'm not sure America is prepared psychologically for the $5 threshold on a gallon of gas. One benefit of high gas prices is that alternative energy picks up quite a bit, but that doesn't help a country with 10% unemployment and driveways full of Chevy Suburbans. Plus, increased fuel costs will make make the already high food prices rise even further. So it could be a bad deal all around. Midas?
Jesus, man, couldn't we have picked a happy topic for this week? Complete morning here. A week or two back, I joked about $150 oil in one of my threads and nearly got laughed off my own post. But like I said then, and like I'm saying now, all these lovely theorems we have about valuations, range bindings and historical demand, price levels and such, they're all horseshit. When gasoline goes up by 35 cents in 3 weeks at your local pump, that's called hyperinflation. And I seem to recall somebody writing about that not too long ago. I don't remember where or who it was, but that doesn't matter. I generally agree with you on most of these points. I think you're wrong about the $5 threshold. I know you recall a time when $2 gas was unheard of. I remember it, but then it went to $3 and it went to $4, came down a little eventually. But each time, we said a few things, but we went with a whimper. And I remember 20 years or so ago, people busting into kiosks in Times Square because cigarettes went over $2 a pack. Now they're what, $8, $9, $10 some places, and chimney heads are still huffing and puffing away. Let's face it, we've gone soft. We're a country of pussies waiting to get fucked. That's what it is. The only reason we're not getting Islamified like Europe, over there in your backyard, is we got 2 giant swimming pools on each side of us, and the junky behavior that we have towards crude oil isn't going to change unless we kick it cold turkey, which we're not about to do what all those Suburbans sitting
No.
in the driveway. So it doesn't matter where unemployment goes. Oil's not going away anytime soon. And, you know, the only way you're getting away from $4 or $5 at the pump, and someday 10, is if you grow yourself a beard, wrap a towel around your head, and you move to fucking shitholistan.
No thanks. Been there, blew it up.
Yeah, you didn't do a good enough job, in my opinion, but hey, at least you tried. So listen, guys, I know we owe you some fine literature this week. On my end, I'm gonna have a direct download available for you. Just be warned, it's a pretty scary book, and I might leave your banker wishes and buyout dreams a little tarnished. It's called The True Function of Money and the False Foundation of Our Banking System. It's by Frederick Raphael Birch. And there are two things that make the book really scary. One is that you, monkeys, are the pillars of this house of shit that we're living in. Number two, it was written in 1922. And not only does it ring as true today as it did then, you will feel like you're reading a cutout from Bloomberg or the Wall Street Journal or any publication of today. Mind you, 90 years old. So proceed with caution, and remember, do not seek any form of enlightenment unless you're ready for its burdens, guys. That's all you got for me from this week. Eddie, take them home.
All right. Well, if you're a free market libertarian like me, you may have noticed that there's not a lot on TV that caters to your particular philosophy. That's why my book recommendation this week is actually a television series for libertarians, albeit a short-lived one. I'm talking about the one and only season of Firefly. You might recognize the lead character as the guy who stars in Castle, which is also a decent enough show. But Firefly is all about what happens when people just want to be left alone by the government and are forced to the ragged edges of space to get away from the nanny state. It's great stuff, and they even made a movie called Serenity based on the series. I got that too. The movie's great too, but you should really check out the TV series to fill the void in the world of libertarian-minded entertainment. That's all I've got this week. To the Barclays guys who got let go, here's hoping you land on your feet and find something else soon. Everybody be safe this week, and we'll see you next time on Not Safe for Work. Take care, guys.
Be good.